Here's some examples, all dividing rational numbers. We're going to go ahead and start off with the first problem here, fractions. Whenever you divide a fraction, the common saying is keep, change, flip. We keep the first fraction, we change the sign to multiplication, and we flip the second fraction. So we keep the first fraction, it's 2/3. We're changing to multiplication, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip this fraction. Instead of 1/3, it's going to be 3/1. This is a part in which we can use cross-cancellation. 3 and 3, because there's one on the top and one on the bottom, they can cross out. They both become 1 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So your final answer will be 2 times 1 over 1 times 1. So that is 2/1, which then simplifies to 2. So 2 is your final answer. And as I've said before in the other videos, when you cross-cancel here, that keeps you from having to simplify later on. So it actually makes things a whole lot easier. So for this next example, same idea, same thing, except here we have a mixed number. Mixed numbers cause problems. We can't do anything with them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do keep, change, flip. Except instead of keeping the first fraction like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and change this to an improper fraction. Since the denominator is 4, the denominator will stay as 4. In order to get the top, I have to do 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So we end up with 9/4. I'm going to change the sign to multiplication, and this 1/2 is going to flip and turn into 2/1. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and use cross-cancellation. 2 can divide into 2 and 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Multiply the top numbers, multiply the bottom numbers, and you end up with 9/2. It cannot simplify anymore, so that's actually your final answer. The next problem is very similar to the first one, except we have a negative. So that tells me that because we're dividing a positive number by a negative number, the result is going to be negative. Aside from that, it is the same procedure as before. Nothing's changed. We keep the first fraction, 3/7. We change the sign to multiplication, and we flip the second fraction to 5/1. There's nothing to cross-cancel. Nothing can simplify or divide. So we're going to go ahead and multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. We get -15/7, and that's our final answer. Now a lot of people ask me, is it the 15 that's negative, or is it the 7 that's negative, or is it the whole thing that's negative? The answer to that is yes. It doesn't matter which one. You can consider the 15 negative, the 7 negative, or the whole thing. However, it's typical when you're adding or subtracting that you consider the 15 to be negative. But truthfully, it really doesn't matter. This last problem right here that we have is different. It's not a fraction. It is still a rational number because it's a decimal. We have a negative number divided by a positive number, so I know my result is going to be negative. The only thing you really have to do is plug it into your calculator. So I'm actually plugging it in right now. I have 23.94 divided by 10.5. That's going to get me 2.28. Notice how I did not say I was typing in negatives. I don't have negatives in this calculator, but I know because I'm dividing a negative by a positive, I'm going to get a negative result. So I just divided these two numbers to get this as my final answer.